Failure is not the end of your journey. It is the sharpening stone that polishes your character. Every time you stumble, life is giving you an opportunity to pause, reflect, and return with greater clarity and purpose. Falling does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. And in that humanity lies the power to rebuild stronger than ever before. When you hit rock bottom, you are given the rare chance to see the world from a different angle. That low place shows you truths you would never have noticed at the top. Use those truths as a foundation to climb higher, because the deeper your roots and lessons learned, the taller you can grow. Failing forward is the art of seeing every setback not as a wall, but as a stepping stone. It is choosing to ask, what can I take from this moment to make myself better? Instead of why did this happen to me? That single shift in mindset transforms pain into progress. You will never truly know the depth of your strength until you face the kind of failure that makes you question everything. It's in those moments when the air feels heavy and your dreams seem far that your spirit is tested. Rising from that place proves that nothing, not even your worst day, can define you. Every failure holds a hidden gift, but most people are too focused on the loss to see it. Hint. If you can shift your eyes toward the lesson instead of the damage, you'll discover that what you lost is temporary, but what you learned is permanent power. The people you admire, leaders, innovators, champions, did not arrive where they are without falling countless times. They stumbled, they cried, they doubted themselves, and still they rose. Their secret was not luck, it was the refusal to stay down. Failing forward requires humility to admit when you were wrong and courage to try again in a smarter way. This combination turns defeat into an investment in your future victories. When life knocks you down, don't aim to get back to where you were, aim to surpass it. Every rise after a fall is a chance to build yourself into a version that's wiser, tougher, and more unstoppable. The climb after failure is often the hardest, but it's also the most rewarding. You appreciate the view more when you've earned it through grit, sweat, and resilience. Failure is not a verdict, it is a teacher. And like all good teachers, it can be strict, but its lessons are priceless. Priceless. Pay attention and you'll find that it's shaping you into someone far more capable than you were before. The journey of failing forward is messy. It involves uncomfortable truths, painful realizations, and the humility of starting over. But from that mess emerges a strength that cannot be faked or forced. It is forged through struggle. There will be moments when failure will whisper to you that you're not good enough. Rise higher by answering back with action, proving through persistence that no setback can decide your worth. Each time you rise from a fall, you are rewriting the story of your life. You are turning I failed into I learned, and I can't into I will. That is how legends are made. When you fall, you may lose momentum, but you gain perspective. That new perspective becomes your guide for navigating the path ahead with sharper vision. Failure doesn't diminish your value, it refines it. Like gold tested in fire, your worth becomes more evident the more challenges you endure and overcome. Failing forward is a conscious choice to move in the direction of your dreams, even with bruises, even with doubts, even when the ground beneath you feels shaky. When you commit to rising higher, you stop seeing failure as a punishment and start seeing it as preparation. It's preparing you for challenges you haven't even met yet. Your setbacks are not the end of your story. They are the chapters that make the victory at the end unforgettable. Without the lows, the highs would not feel as sweet. Rising higher after a fall is proof that you are more than the sum of your mistakes. You are a fighter, a learner, and a creator of new possibilities. Failure will test your patience, but patience is exactly what you need to build something that lasts. Quick wins are fragile. Lessons from failure are unbreakable. Each time you rise, you inspire others. Your resilience becomes a silent message that says, if I can do it, so can you. The strength to fail forward comes from believing that nothing is wasted, not the effort, not the tears, not the time. Every experience is shaping you for what's ahead. You cannot rise higher without first knowing what it feels like to fall. That contrast gives you both humility and hunger. The real danger is not failing. It is letting failure convince you to stop trying. Keep going, and you turn failure into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Your falls are temporary, but the strength you gain from getting up is forever. Failing forward is proof that success is not a straight line. It's a series of drops, climbs, twists, and turns that ultimately lead upward. You may not be able to control when you fall, but you can control how you respond. That choice defines your future. When you rise higher, you carry with you every lesson learned, every scar earned, and every ounce of wisdom gained. These are your tools for the next climb. Do not fear the fall, fear the comfort of staying down. Growth happens only when you push yourself to stand again. The pain of failure fades, but the pride of overcoming it will stay with you for a lifetime. Failing forward requires faith, not just in the outcome, but in yourself. Even when you can't see the top, trust that every step upward matters. The most important rise is not the one the world sees, but the one you feel inside when you refuse to let failure define your identity. Each failure is like a rough stone. The more you encounter, the more polished and refined you become. Success earned without failure is shallow. Success earned after rising from failure is deep, meaningful, and lasting. Your journey will have chapters of falling, but the ending will be one of rising. If you keep turning the pages, fail forward by focusing on the next step, not the entire staircase. Progress is built one movement at a time. Oh, you are capable of rising higher than you have ever fallen. Every comeback carries the potential to be greater than the original plan. One day you will look back and realize that failure wasn't a curse. It was the force that pushed you to become the strongest version of yourself. Fail forward. Failure is a mirror. Rise higher. And remember, nothing can keep you down unless you let it. You have the potential to rise stronger. The reflection may be uncomfortable, but it's also the truth that will guide your transformation. When you fail, the world may doubt you, but that is not the moment to accept their doubts. It's the moment to surprise them with your next rise. Use their disbelief as fuel, not as chains. Rising after failure is not about erasing the past. It's about carrying it forward as proof that you have already survived what others might not have endured. You are not the same person after failure. You come back with sharper instincts, a wiser heart, and a deeper appreciation for every small victory. Failing forward means recognizing that every scar is a badge of courage. You didn't quit. You earned the right to wear that mark with pride. With pride. Sometimes failure clears the path by removing things that were never meant for you. It hurts in the moment, but later you'll see it as protection, not punishment. To rise higher, you must be willing to be uncomfortable, to walk into the unknown, and to trust that the climb is worth the strain. Failure strips away illusions and forces you to face reality. That raw truth is painful, but it's also the soil in which your next success will grow. When you fall, it can feel like darkness surrounds you. But even in darkness, seeds grow quietly, unseen, until the day they break through the surface. Your comeback is not about how fast you rise. It's about how unshakable you become in the process. Slow strength lasts longer than quick success. The pain of failing forward is temporary, but the character it builds is permanent. That's why your future self will thank you for enduring it. You may bend under the weight of failure, but you do not have to break. Even the tallest trees sway in storms, but stand firm afterward. Failure asks, are you serious about your dreams? Rising higher is your answer. The fire of failure burns away comfort zones and leaves behind the steel of resilience. You emerge forged, not fragile. Failing forward teaches you that progress is not the absence of mistakes, but the mastery of recovery. You can fall multiple times, but each time you rise, you gain more than you lost. That's the real exchange failure offers if you accept it. Sometimes the distance between failure and victory is only one more attempt. Don't let quitting rob you of that one more try. Rising higher means learning to move with your scars, not hide them. They are the map of where you've been and how far you've come. Failure humbles you, but humility keeps you grounded when success finally arrives. Fail forward by accepting that growth often feels like breaking before it feels like building. Your rise will not erase the memory of your fall, but it will rewrite its meaning. The climb after failure feels heavier because you carry your lessons with you. But those lessons are the very tools that will get you to the top. Failure invites you to see life as a process instead of a single event. You are always becoming, never just arriving. Rising higher requires forgiving yourself for what went wrong, so you can focus on making things right. The beauty of failing forward is that you can start again, stronger, wiser, and less afraid, whenever you choose. Every time you rise, you reinforce a belief in yourself that no outside opinion can touch. Failure does not mean a stop. It means adjust. Adjust your strategy, not your goal. When you fall, don't just get up. Get up with a plan. That's how you rise higher than before. Fail forward because every fall brings you closer to the version of yourself that was always meant to shine. Failure is not the enemy we've been taught to fear. It is the mentor we never asked for but desperately need. Every time you fall short of a goal, the universe is handing you an invitation to grow in ways you could never have imagined while winning. The sting of failure forces you to analyze your actions, to reevaluate your priorities, and to acknowledge the blind spots you ignored when things were going smoothly. In that discomfort lies the seed of transformation. You can run from failure and remain the same, or you can stand in front of it, study it, and let it teach you the lessons only adversity can provide. If you choose the latter, you will rise not just to where you were before, but beyond it, armed with new skills, deeper wisdom, and an unshakable belief in your own resilience. When you rise after falling, you don't simply return to the game, you return as someone who has been tested, someone who has walked through fire and come out the other side stronger. That process changes how you see challenges. They stop being threats and start becoming opportunities to prove to yourself, once again, that you are capable of enduring and overcoming. The person who has never failed might look polished on the surface, but the person who has fallen and risen carries a depth of character that no unbroken record can match. Every climb from rock bottom sharpens your discipline, strengthens your determination, and fuels a hunger to go higher than you thought possible before the fall. Failing forward is about replacing shame with curiosity. Instead of drowning in the thought, "I'm not good enough," you ask, "Well, what can I learn from this to become better?" That one question turns every mistake into a classroom. You begin to view setbacks not as personal flaws, but as vital feedback, signs that you are in the arena, doing the work, taking the risks that others are too afraid to attempt. And as you collect these lessons, you begin to see that the road to success was never meant to be a smooth, straight path. It was always meant to be a winding climb, marked with slips and recoveries that make you unstoppable in the long run. The journey of rising higher after failure is not just a physical climb, it's an emotional and mental transformation. The moment you decide to get back up, you're declaring to yourself and to the world that your value isn't determined by your last result. You become the author of your own story again, rewriting the ending with each step forward. This is where true confidence is born, not from unbroken success, but from the deep, unshakable knowledge that you can handle whatever comes your way because you've already faced the worst and found a way through it. Failure strips you of illusions. It forces you to confront the reality of where you are versus where you want to be. At first, this can feel crushing. You see the distance you still have to travel, and it seems impossible. But over time, you realize that this awareness is a gift. You stop wasting energy on shortcuts and start focusing on building a foundation that will actually hold under pressure. You no longer chase quick wins, you build lasting victories. And that's why your next rise will not only be higher, but will endure far longer than anything you achieved before. When you fall, you may lose faith in yourself for a moment, but that doubt doesn't have to last. The act of rising, of putting one foot in front of the other, despite the heaviness in your chest, becomes a declaration that you are not finished yet. Every time you push forward, even a little, you prove that your willpower is stronger than your fear. And soon you realize that failure hasn't weakened you. It has stripped away what was unnecessary and revealed the core of who you really are. Resilient, determined, and unstoppable. Failing forward also teaches you compassion, both for yourself and for others. Once you've been in the trenches, once you've felt the sting of defeat, you understand the weight other people carry in their own struggles. This empathy doesn't make you soft. It makes you wise. You stop judging people solely by their wins and losses, and you start valuing the courage it takes to keep showing up. That understanding makes you a better teammate, a better leader, and a better human being. The higher you rise after a fall, the more perspective you gain. From that new height, you can look back and see how each failure was perfectly positioned to teach you something essential. Maybe one loss taught you patience. Another taught you discipline. Another revealed a hidden strength you didn't know you had. Without those experiences, your rise would be hollow, a tower built without a foundation. But because you've built on the hard-earned lessons of failure, your growth is stable, secure, and capable of withstanding future storms. To fail forward is to embrace the fact that the fall itself is not the defining moment. It's what you do immediately after. Do you lie there and replay your mistakes endlessly? Or do you rise and turn that energy into a plan? Every decision in those moments counts, because failure is not a single event. It's a process of learning, adjusting, and returning to the fight with renewed strength. You can't erase the fall, but you can make the rise so powerful that it becomes the part everyone remembers. Your failures are not proof of your limits. They are proof of your attempts. They show that you had the courage to aim high enough that falling was even possible. That courage is rare. And if you nurture it, if you refuse to let it be extinguished by temporary defeat, it will carry you to heights you once thought were out of reach. Failing forward, rising higher. It's not just a phrase. It's a way of living that turns every challenge into a stepping stone toward your greatest self.